After a ton of work, 14 lengthy episodes, a live stream and many off-screen building sessions, Hogwarts and its grounds are finally as good as finished in Planet Coaster 2. Featuring an expansive castle with interior ranging from queues, restaurants and halls, as well as various flat rides and a big roller coaster. Harry Potter references are spread throughout this area, combined with some creative liberties to create a grand and coherent experience. One that I'm going to show you in detail today. And I did say as good as finished for a reason, because you, the viewer, will help me put the cherries on top. More about that later though, because for now, let's get straight into it. Gentlemen, the day has finally arrived. Hogwarts is finished, and this really feels like a weight lifted, because this was by far the most ambitious part of Benny's movie park, and it's done. And I'm at least mostly done. And I'm so happy with that. It's been such a long journey towards this. I've done so much off-screen building, it's actually unhealthy. If I turned all that into episodes, that would have genuinely been like 20 more episodes. Even the ones that really love seeing me build would find that boring at some point. Those 13 to 14 episodes was already really stretching it. People started not watching anymore at that point. So this felt like the only way, and it's glorious, let me tell you. I fixed many things I didn't actually really like that much and turned it into what I think is a pretty coherent, cool, filled up area. Now before going into this, first I want to tell you the whole thing with this not being finished. If you have any more ideas, let me know down below in the comments, and then out of those I'll make an entire new video, a final Hogwarts video, where I add all those ideas. For now though, let me show you what I have so you actually know where there's still stuff to add. Just like the last time, we're going to begin right down here in the POV of the guests. Oh, here you go. Dumbledore is kind of, you know, chilling here. Anyway, let me just make my face a bit smaller. Here you go. So, starting over here at the main bridge, going towards the castle. I'll begin with the ride, because that's the biggest thing here. And then afterwards, we're gonna go into Hogsmeade and the back sections of this park. So first, we're gonna go all the way up here, this staircase. This is a pretty sweet view as well of the castle. Moving a bit further up, we now arrive at the entrance area for the coaster, the Flying Ford Anglia. This is based upon the flying car from the movie. The coaster also is themed to it. Other than that, it's not really anything super specific. It just kind of goes around the whole area, the whole Hogwarts Castle and some surrounding areas. It's kind of random in a way, but I still really do like it. So here's the entrance. These signs, I really wish we had some with like coaster warnings instead of water park warnings, just to add to entrances of rides. Could be very cool. Maybe in the future we'll get that. I don't know. But now let's go into this first area, which is, let me turn the torch off, the Great Hall. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to actually put in all the tables properly. As you can tell, the table on the very side doesn't actually have the other bench, but it didn't fit. If I made this actually to scale, it would have been so much bigger. It is actually crazy how big this castle is supposed to be. But anyway, this is pretty cool looking. It's really cozy, really warm. All these banners, of course, have to represent the houses of the Harry Potter, well, houses. Mainly by color, I tried to get that vibe in there. It's not super convincing, but it's good enough. We can't really do all that much, unfortunately, in this game as far as customization in really small details goes. But yeah, I'm still pretty happy with how this looks. At the end here, you have some magicians, some animatronics that are just kind of sitting here. This is one of the earlier parts I did. You can tell I didn't actually incorporate too many of the sorcery pack. Because, well, I didn't want to redo the whole thing. I kind of liked the original heart of this area, so I kept that in mostly. There's a fireplace here, and then let's go to the first actual new interior that I built, and that is this room right here. The big tower, basically, and it now has this. I suppose it sort of speaks for itself. These are animatronics on a moving, rotating staircase, just like the movie. Of course, the layout of this whole tower is completely different. This actually is supposed to be like many of these staircases. It's supposed to be square, I think, as well. But at least it is something. And I love the way this looks, regardless. All the way up there, there's another, just for the illusion that there's more. But yes, this is basically what I did. Down there is the staff path that goes to that door. It's necessary. I wouldn't have otherwise put it there, but we do need that for the unloading station. Yeah, so this is what I did for that area. I really do love the way it looks. I don't know why. It's just so cool. This interaction is really nice. Then moving on to the next room, which is a very, very small little room. Just a bunch of Harry Potter themed stuff, like a potions storage room, it seems. It's really basic stuff, really simple, just a few shelves with a bunch of bottles. But simple stuff like this works so well. It's actually crazy. And this is where you get a quick look of the station already. On the other side, of course, there is the front of the castle. So you get quite a few views in this queue. Also, right here, a bunch of crates, just very simple scenery. And here you get a view of the unloading station, which you never actually see because you don't enter the coaster up until that point. It's really simple stuff if you think about it, but it works well enough. I didn't want to overdo it for this. And so over here, just a bunch more junk, some storage areas, I suppose. With the torch, you can see a bit better. It's so simple, but it looks really good with the proper lighting, the proper props. Yeah, so that's what I did. Then here we actually enter the station. A bunch more sorcery pieces here I added, along with the entire station is now just done. This was completely empty before, and now it's nicely spiced up with a bunch of cool elements. Some windows up there, some sorcery pillars on the sides, some really cool statues as well. It's a bit of everything, I suppose, and together that makes for a pretty clean but nice looking station area. And this, I suppose, is then the point of the POV of this coaster. I did so much to this coaster to make it work. I changed up the track as well in some parts because it was very rough. Let me tell you, it was very rough. But as you can tell here, pretty nicely, the carts are themed to the flying Fort Anglia from the movie. It looks pretty convincing, even has the number plate on it. So super happy with that. It has the rear lights as well. So that is super cool. I suppose let's not waste any more time and simply sit inside and have a ride.
morning. Any ideas what these might be? Yes, Miss.
The coaster actually goes straight through back to the station, but of course as a guest you don't actually see that. We end up right over here. This is the unloading station. Again, it's just a few pieces, but combined they look really good. We are going to follow these people to the exit of this ride, which allows you to go two ways actually. First off, you can go to the right, to Hogwarts Hall, and get your right photos. And the other side is the restaurant. But we are now at a place that kind of spoils some other parts, so let's first go to those. Back at the entrance of the Flying Fort Anglia, we can also go to the right, which, as this sign says, Hogwarts Hall. By the way, these poles are spread throughout this area. I do like the way those look, and it's very functional as well, so there you have it. This, of course, is the bridge you see at the very front. It's nice, it's big, but this is my favorite part of the exterior of the castle. This turned out really nice and detailed. It's just great. These sorcery pieces really came in handy for this part. So, super happy with that. This is all new. This interior was completely empty, and it looks so cool. I am so happy with this. This is still empty. This is one of those spots where you guys can give your ideas. I just don't know what to do with this. It's such a big empty area. But yes. First off, at your right, there is the Ollivander's spiral slide, basically. It's right here. It just only barely fits. But this is a very simple kids ride. You can't even really call it a ride. It's just a slide. But yeah, so you go in here, you move your way through this queue all the way to this part. You go in, you slide, you get out right here. Super simple, like the most basic thing ever, but still it works. It was an open area, so it fit pretty well. So yeah. Then straight ahead is the big thing. First off, this is the souvenir shop. This is actually where you arrive from here. I just ended up here, of course. Then you can go to the right, and that's where you end up at the souvenir shop. Along with the ride photos, all of that works super cool. I love you can do that. It's so sick. But yeah, super simple souvenir shop. Straight ahead, the big Hogwarts Hall, another Hogwarts Hall within the center. A little showcase animatronics that are just practicing some spells here. I love these animatronics so much. It spices that up beautifully. It's so cool, so interactive. So yeah, I mean, again, the sorcery pieces came in beautifully here. All of this looks super nice with not that much effort. Absolutely loving that. To the left here is... That's not supposed to be there. To the left, here is a restaurant. This is a big seating area. You can just sit down, eat your food, because the restaurant is right over here. Let it load. Lighting, here you go. So there are some restrooms as well, and then this is just two restaurant counters for many tables. There's also a slush hour for some extra, I don't know, desserts. I have no idea, honestly, but you can go up here for some more tables, in fact, and people do actually go up here, which surprised me, because why would they? It's so much further than the others, but you can just go up here. You can even go outside. Even those are sometimes occupied, so that's really fun. Anyway, then going back down, that is basically the restaurant. Out here, as I said, is just a big area. Simple, but yet again, it's cozy or something. It's just nice. And as you can tell, people also seem to like it. There's always someone here. It's never empty, so that's good. But then going back in, you can also go to the right here, where you end up back again in that big hole. So that is pretty much the interior of this part. You can also go back outside here. This is the back entrance of Hogwarts that leads you to the western area, along with Egypt all the way back there. So that is basically the end of the area. However, it's not. Because if you've watched this series, you know there's a whole back section, like a whole back area. The Forbidden Forest, Hogsmeade, all of that is here as well. And there's two ways from here you can go to that. The first way is right over there through that arch. We're not going to do that though. We're going to go all the way back to the entrance of this area because that feels a bit more natural for now to show you. So back at the very beginning, if you go straight, you end up at a completely different section of the Harry Potter area. For example, you can now get some pretty sweet views of the castle along with the coaster. Look, I just love this part. This looks so cool, especially when it comes around. It just looks very, very nice. But yes, so you go straight here. You can either go... No, you can't. This is the exit. You can go all the way up here, where you should enter Hogsmeade. This is a pretty outdated area, but I want to keep it that way, because I built this before the sorcery pack. I did add a few elements, such as those windows, but besides that, I didn't do a lot, and I kind of want to keep it like that, because it's just nice, it's classic, knowing that I built this without all that fancy stuff, and it still holds up mostly. It's a bit goofy in places, but I still like the vibe it has. So first off, you have this big building with a bunch of food stalls inside, some fantastic hats along with loony balloons, some soda over there. These buildings are of course based upon Hogsmeade, but they are not the snowy versions, they're just the summer version, I suppose, which I think you can see in Hogwarts Legacy, but I'm not entirely sure. The point is, this is kind of a creative liberty I took, and I'm happy I did because it looks pretty decent in my opinion. Over here, we have some toilet stalls, and then there's the restaurant, which is probably the most basic restaurant in the park. There's nothing here, there's just a kitchen, some toilets, more toilets, a bunch of tables along this ridge up on the mountain. The hill. It's pretty sweet, but it's really quite basic. This is one of the first things I built in this area, so it makes sense. In the center, there's a fountain with, again, some signs. And you can already tell, this entrance had quite an upgrade. This is one of the few things I really did change. The Durmstrang Voyage, it's now called, is of course a swinging ship. And I just put a literal tiny ship up there. I really like the way it looks. It's super goofy actually, but I don't know, it's just nice. Of course, that leads you all the way down to the swinging ship ride. Let me just demonstrate. All the way across these bridges. It's a very uncomfortable queue, but still, it's here, and people just have to deal with that. So you end up over here underneath this little building, and then this is the ride. You just wait for it to end. You go inside and have a quick ride. On the back here, there are some more buildings for decoration, which is cool. You can see those from the back if you are in the train. But if you finish this ride, you go out here, and this is the exit I just passed. So yeah. Anyway, back here, there's a bunch of new stuff, and I mean a bunch, because you can already tell there's a drop tower there. That was not there before. Let's go here to the Forbidden Forest. If we enter this area, the first thing we meet is the Forbidden Fall ride entrance, which is that drop tower. So that's the exit, this is the entrance. Let's go in. You go all the way through this queue. Let me just skip that. Underneath this roof part, in here, and that's where you end up at the Forbidden Fall ride. It just fits perfectly in this little courtyard area. I just love that, and it turned out pretty good. You get some pretty sweet views from inside there as well. Let me just show you right now. Of course, it depends on where you sit in this ride, but for example, if you sit in the very front, as you can tell, you slowly go up, and then you should launch and see a very big landscape, which is completely empty. But the point is, you do get a pretty cool view of this back section of the park, and that's nice, I suppose. Once you're done, you can go out over here and make your way to the actual Forbidden Forest. So this is the exit. Look, sign, Forbidden Forest. We make our way through this corridor here, or, well, courtyard, I suppose. And we end up at the back. And this is also completely, well, it's not new, but it's been spiced up a lot. As you can tell by all these bushes, all the vegetation, the trees. It looks a lot nicer now, a lot more filled up. If we go to the right here, this is actually where you end up back at the restaurant. Allow me to demonstrate. At your left, you do have something very new and very, very cool, the Whomping Willow. And guess what? It actually moves with a bunch of different motors inside. And that is a very, very important detail. I do think it turned out pretty sweet. You can also see it from the coaster, of course, although the movement isn't all that apparent. So, that's nice. But then, moving on all the way here, you can already tell we're gonna go up this stairs through the very, very building that the coaster goes through at the end. As you can tell, this is the classroom. Very cool. Moving on, this is the restaurant. So this path is being used quite a lot, as you can tell. There's always people here, so I think it was necessary, because otherwise you had to walk all the way around the area, which is not great. So this seems like a decent solution. But anyway, let me just go back here to where we were. This down here leads you to a few things. First of all, Hagrid's hut, as well as the train station, and of course just simply some cool scenery, the Forbidden Forest over here. And yeah, so just walking over here, some more signs. So this is Hagrid's hut, that's that way, and then the station is there. Let's first cover Hagrid's hut. This is the exit of the station, don't mind that. This is always super quiet. There's nobody here ever, even though there's a restaurant here, but as you can tell, it's very busy. But yes, this just isn't very popular, and I can tell why. There's nothing here besides Hagrid's hut. Although it does look sweet, it looks nice, even accurate, I would say. Inside, there's a restaurant. It's very, very simple. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I would have loved to have more people here, but it's just, yeah, it's just not gonna work. But then finally, over here at the very, very back is the train station. This leads nowhere. It's just, I don't even know what that is, but this right here is the entrance to Hogsmeade Station, which I loosely based on the actual Hogsmeade Station. As you can tell, it has some of these buildings. It has the red bridge at the end. Looks nice though. It's decent. You can walk all the way across from here, so you can see it from above. Those are the buildings I talked about, and yeah, so I suppose that's pretty much the entire walkthrough. So let's head to the sky and see all of this from above. I feel like this is going to be a long video, but here we are in the sky looking at Hogwarts from above. It is such a big area. Bloody hell. Let's begin with the things you don't see from below. That is, of course, the bird's eye view in general, like this. All of this you don't really see, especially the higher towers. These are empty as well, but you don't really see them from down below in all its detail, although some of these don't have that much detail because, again, this was before the sorcery pack. So you can probably tell this is very, very basic stuff, especially this. This makes no sense. It doesn't look that good. From afar, though, it's not as apparent, so that's why I didn't change it. It's nice. It's nice to know that there are some things I built before all of it, and it still looks decent. And here, for example, I did add some parts, like this door, but it's just very minimal. I didn't want to overdo it with those new pieces, so yeah. Let's once again actually start with the ride, because there's quite some things you pass by very quickly. Let's have a look. I mean, this part of Hogsmeade you don't see as a guest just walking on this path. You see it from the coaster very, very briefly. But again, it's not that detailed because you see it so quickly. And it felt like a waste of effort to make it super nice if you're only gonna see it for 5 seconds. Or well, not even, like 0.5 seconds. That is also why I didn't do too much for this room, because you pass by it so quick, it would just be wasted effort, let's be real. So, very simple building. It's like you crash through it, or crashed through it. Then move on into the chasm between the castle buildings. All of this you've already seen in quite some detail in the past, so it's not that special. Here I did do some things, which is something I tend to do. Things. You may notice the lighting is a bit different. It's a bit darker and dimmer and just more creepy. And back here, of course, is the biggest change. I added some animatronics, even though they're not supposed to represent anything because they're completely not the ones they're supposed to be. They don't even look similar. So this head now goes up and down, as you can tell here, very slowly. Once the train arrives, it goes down and then it goes up. And of course, there's the sequence for these figures. They shoot at each other. And then also there's the basilisk down here, which comes out once the coaster arrives. Let me just skip to that. So here it is. It just spins around. And once it goes here, you can tell, oh, it's very goofy, it's very happy, but there's nothing I can do about that. It is what it is. So yes, then you go back, have this part of the layout, which I also changed quite a bit. This whole turn is now a bit faster, more curved, crooked, and a tiny little hill over here. Spice it up a little bit because it was very, very boring before. That leads me to this second part. This whole layout, it's the same, but it is very, very edited. And this turn is much higher now, much smoother. Same goes for this. This was so rough. Actually baffling how rough this was, but it's a lot better now. Also, this hill was way too fast, so I added some trim brakes over there. It's a bit, look, that's much better, much healthier for the guests inside. And here I added a bunch of these webs with the children of Aragog, and then Aragog himself. You don't see it that well in the coaster because it's, again, very, very quick. But it's cool, it's nice. Those audio files, by the way, I did add in the edit. It's not actually in the game because you hear it from very far away, which is annoying if that happens. So I thought I may as well just add that in the edit in post-production. So I did that. This is also something I would like some ideas for because there's nothing in here. It's very plain and I don't know what this even is supposed to be. Any ideas are very, very welcome. Then up here is the final part, and this interior I am most happy with because of course we have some classrooms. First off, this is the what's it called again, where they make stuff fly. Hermione says Leviosa. That is this classroom. It is roughly the same as the movie, it's just very simplified. The next History of Magic, there's a bunch of random artifacts from the History of Magic, of course, in these closets, along with the professor explaining what is going on, and of course a bunch of tables with a feather and some sheets. There aren't many options, guys. Okay, I had to do it with what I had. So the next potions class, which has a bunch of potions, surprise, surprise, but looks sweet. There is a professor cooking up a sort of potion here, it seems, and of course some more closets with more vials filled with deadly stuff potentially. So yeah. Then, final room, very basic, door opens, and you end up back at the unloading station. So that is the coaster. Things you don't see in much detail from a guest perspective are mainly just the bird's eye views. All of this, also in the back here, you don't see this from the front, you only see it from the train ride over there, which is kind of the purpose of it, if I'm being honest. This I also think looks really good from above. It's just nice. Those supports took way too long, but do look really sweet. And there's Hagrid's area along with the Owlery. I didn't actually point this out, but this is the Owlery tower. Again, this is the most outdated tower there is. 0 new pieces, just the old stuff. It's kind of tragic, but it's fine, whatever. The station, Hogsmeade Station. This was completely empty before. First time you're guys seeing this. Also a thing of note, I changed all these bushes to the dead bushes. I noticed in the movie, it looks very bare. It's not that lush, it seems. It's just ground with a bunch of twigs and stuff like that. So I tried to recreate that here. It's better, it's still not great. It still doesn't have that vibe. I tried adding some fog, but it looks weird like that. It's just not really the same thing. I should have built this indoors. That could have worked. But that would have been a bit of an eyesore if you think about it as well. So probably the least convincing thing I built in this area, but it is what it is. The drop tower, this just seemed the perfect spot for it because I definitely knew I wanted yet another ride here. I just didn't know how or what or where. This seemed like the best option and it works really well. And then I think that is actually pretty much the bulk of it. I think it is. I think that's basically everything of note that you haven't seen yet. Yeah, then now comes the part where you comment if you have any ideas left. One of them I've already seen is the tribunes for the Tri-Wizard tournament in the water. That is a very cool thing I'll definitely do somewhere here. On top of that, any ideas are welcome at this point, because you can probably tell there are many references, but not nearly enough to make it really convincing a Harry Potter area. Basically, I desperately need your help. That's what this came down to. So if you have ideas, comment them down below right now. I'll definitely grab them from this video, not the previous posts. Comment down below. And then for today, I think that is pretty much it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell not to miss a single future video. Then I hope I'll see you in the next one.